Hello Grebos, welcome back to Downloadable Content. Today is actually going to be a pretty interesting video because I am here to complain about the new Star Wars Kenobi series. It's off to a bad way, and well, I'm joined by Mythicus, and we're going to be doing a weird Star Wars podcast with boneworks. Did you expect that? Sit back, relax, and well, maybe not enjoy this. So Mythicus, I hate to say this because I was actually really excited for Kenobi and I've watched all 3 episodes, and this is everyone's warning right now. There will be plenty of spoilers. If you haven't watched Kenobi yet, watch it right now. Spoiler warning, 3, 2, 1. All right, I watched all 3 of them and I watched the first 2 with some grace. I was like, they're just getting into it, you know.
Trying to get their stride.
Yeah, like Kenobi's back. He's Kenobi. I'm getting back into that universe. I let a lot of stuff go in the first 2 episodes, but I do have one big gripe with the first 2. I want to get out of my system real quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here's the first one. When they were chasing Princess Leia, I almost turned it off and stopped watching it entirely. That was the worst chase scene I've ever seen in the history of television. They like didn't want to catch her, but they wanted to catch her. You're grown men and she's running away from you. Just grab the stupid little brat. God.
It's just, God. Like every 3 of her steps doesn't equal 1 of yours, man.
They were running into like branches like it was like an Austin Powers movie, right? They're like the one girl's like, she's like running and smacks her head into a branch and Leia goes underneath it. I'm like, what? Like for us, like if we were the stormtroopers on the job, we would have captured them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We would have got paid.
For me, the first 2 episodes, it set things up, right? They gave us that teaser to see Darth Vader, and the second episode at the very end, you see him in the Bacta, which, whatever, is what it is. I'm just going to leave it at that. I understand that they're changing canon a little bit with this one, so it is what it is.
Seem to be.
I just want to go to the 3rd episode, because this is what makes me the most mad is the 3rd episode, okay? Woo! Yeah, take a sip of whatever you're going to sip on right now.
You say the 3rd episode thing. Speaking of the Bacta tank thing, in episode 2, I do have to say I was actually really happy with them giving a much more detailed, the suit getting assembled scene. That was awesome. I thought that was really cool because usually they only show, you know, even in the comics, he was just in the Bacta hanging there, and then they would drop the helmet down on the final scene, and that was, you know, the getting put together, you know. But they actually showed like all the pieces getting put together, the full assembly. That was cool.
That's cool. The attention to detail in the suit is cool, right? It looks like it's the same suit from A New Hope, right? So they didn't do any weird things there.
It looks so good, like classic and new at the same time.
Yeah,
so
but it seems like they are paying attention to certain established lore and changing the other ones that were established, right? So this is my biggest problem, and this was the problem I thought just before I watched the show. I'm like, other than Obi Wan like saving Luke from like some pirates, he was just an old man on a sand planet for like 20 years waiting for Luke to grow up, and grow up he does. So I'm like, this is going to be boring unless they take some creative liberty. Like, obviously I want to see Obi-Wan talk to Vader / Anakin again. Like, I want to see that happen, but I know it's not going to happen outside of a comic.
There were a lot of other things that they could have drawn from for Obi-Wan to be involved in. Like, for example, during this very same time period that they have going on is the time period that he should be doing some things such as fighting Black Chrysanthemum. He's the one that gave Black Chrysanthemum that scar on his face. I forget which comic it is. I think it's like number 20 or something from the Marvel Star Wars comics collection, but it shows the fight between them because he's actually going there to draw out Obi-Wan because he knows that there's some sort of connection to somebody killing Jabba's men, and it turns out to be a Jedi, and he wants the big bounty from it. You know, there's a whole big thing from that, and Black Chrysanthemum is such an epic character. That could have been a huge draw point for these episodes, but instead they went with things that didn't happen.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I think I'm okay with them changing some canon. Like, I think that is fine for me because I'm trying to watch things and not be that much of a cynic any longer. So I'm like, okay, it's fine, they're changing canon. But my problem is that the canon that they're going with now is just bad. It just is. Like, let me continue. So this is the problem. This is the biggest problem. I want to jump to the biggest spoiler warning again, is when Obi-Wan and Anakin interact. Like, the first time you see Vader, you're like, oh damn. And when he shows up and he's like breaks a kid's neck. Like, I'm like, okay, it's Disney, so it's not gonna be that cruel. And he just snaps that kid's neck. I'm like, oh.
That surprised me so much. Like, I cannot lie. Like, the fact that as soon as that kid was killed, I was like, wow, Disney. Oh man, I didn't. Oh
that's
man,
that's what I was excited for. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be pretty awesome. I'm excited for that. And what gave me some Stormtrooper blue balls is that Obi-Wan did not turn his lightsaber on for the first 3 episodes at all. Like, he did, but I want to get there. So he was doing it on purpose. Like, he's using a blaster, he has his lightsaber, he's trying to like obfuscate it, he doesn't want to turn it on. So I thought the first time he turned it on, it was going to be this epic thing. So the first time he turns it on in 10 years is when Vader just pops out of nowhere, which you would hear the man breathing and lumbering around, so there's no way he got surprised.
There is a setting on the suit, to be fair.
No, there isn't. That's how he breathes. What do you mean setting on the suit? You would hear him.
Because he doesn't need it to sustain himself completely. He can sustain himself with the Force alone for a time. So he could turn the suit off to make the respirator not make the sound, so he can sneak up on people. He rarely ever uses it because he's Darth Vader and he doesn't need.
Okay, let's say I believe you right there. Let's say I believe you right there. Okay? Yeah, that's right. Can't pull your gun out. Let's say I believe you, okay, Mr. Stormtrooper. Here's the problem with that one. He still has lumbering robot legs. So you would hear that.
Yes.
You would hear the lumbering robot legs. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So now that we've established that one, so the man just randomly just turns on the lightsaber. So let me make my point right here. Stay right here. We'll be right back. So imagine this right now. The entire time I've been talking to Stormtrooper Mythicus, a lightsaber hasn't been in shot, but now it is in shot. And let's just say I haven't turned this on for the past 10 years and you spook me, right? I'm just like, oh damn! And I just normally turned it on. There was no like cinematic anything. Like in Star Wars, when a lightsaber turns on for the first time, it's always that shot where like
it's always the cool pose.
You know, they hold it right here and the camera's right there. I'm not moving the camera. You guys aren't worth it, but the camera's usually right here and they're like zoo 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 and it's like epic. Well, it wasn't epic. So The Last Jedi throw that lightsaber. That's one of my biggest problems.
It was a fear block. It was like, ah!
Like he just turned on like he was like a puss.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. Like I can't lie, because we're talking Obi Wan Kenobi, the master of Sarisu, the best defensive, saber specialist that there's ever been, and he did it like he was absolutely terrified. Which, I mean, granted, you should be afraid of Darth Vader.
Yeah, maybe he's haunted, and I have a defense for that one. Okay, so everyone's gonna say is like, well, it's been 10 years, so he buried it in sand. Okay. Obi-Wan was also a master marksman, right? He was a master marksman. And he can fire his blaster like no problem. Like he murks that one stormtrooper and our brother gets cut in half, which was an awesome scene, by the way. Seeing that stormtrooper get cut in half in a Disney thing, I was like, this is gonna be great. So his blaster skills didn't diminish. So why would his lightsaber skills diminish? Like my point is, they have a choice to show it, and they're showing me that his blaster skills didn't diminish. Therefore, logically, his lightsaber skills shouldn't be diminished either.
I mean, if he's really trying to lay low and all that, he's not going to be.
Don't you mean Leia low? Star Wars pun. But I have another 2 problems right here. 2 big problems. All right. So let's think about, was it A New Hope? Is that A New Hope is where Obi-Wan dies? Am I wrong? Am I right?
That's episode 4, yes.
Okay, episode 4, A New Hope. What does Vader say to Obi-Wan right before they duel?
At last, I found you, like, as in, he hadn't before. And then, but yet somehow, here they are clashing blades in episode 3.
This is, I think, for in layman's term, Vader says to Obi-Wan, last time we met, I was the learner and you were the master, but now it's different. Insinuating
that quote I do know. He says, when I left you, I was but the learner, but now I am the master.
Yes, exactly. But now that means like, hey, when I left, I was so word salad here. That means they didn't meet any time after Mustafar. Once he lost all his limbs and was burned to death. So ergo facto, how are you going to now have this?
Yeah, this clearly superior bout that is like a one-sided, fight. Like Obi-Wan basically barely defended himself and was going to die. and somebody else saved the day for distraction purposes, essentially. Like that is no, oh, I was the learner moment. No. That was, I almost killed your ass last time I saw you. Is what that should have said.
And that is the sin right there. Like for me, Vader wants him dead. Like he wants him to suffer, but he also wants him dead. So that's why he's like, I'm gonna burn you. Which I thought, hell yeah, Vader, start burning this dude. I'm all for this right now. I'm for the scene right now. You know,
your pain has only begun.
Exactly. Obi-Wan was pretty much turned off from the Force for the most part. Like he was kind of in that, when he's trying to meditate and talk to Qui-Gon, that's why he couldn't, because he was suffering, right? He was in that weird state.
Yeah.
So he wasn't connected,
Exactly.
but it was just enough for Anakin/Vader to feel his presence, and that's why he hunted him down. Boom, there we go.
Exactly.
So I understand like he couldn't really use Force powers that much against Vader, which I get. But here's the sin. This is the sin. The fact, I don't care that Obi-Wan got away. It's a show, I'm watching it, I understand Vader's the bad guy.
There's got to be cinematic goodness.
How they showed him getting away was insane. Insane to me. You mean Vader's Force choking him, he lights the ground on fire and he could put the fire out by pissing on it with the Force. And,
so cool.
And it is cool, but then that lady fires a blaster and makes a bunch of steam, whatever, and the steam does the fire again.
And it makes more fire.
And then Vader's looking at it like,
bigger fire.
yeah, and then Vader's looking at it like, damn, that's crazy. Well, let's wrap it up, boys. And then the stupid robot comes out of nowhere. Yeah, the robot comes out of nowhere.
Just fire some shots to look good, guys.
You know, that's the sad part. That's the sad part to me, is that they have so much, and I feel, if you guys don't know, this is me, Drifter, by the way. If you guys don't know, I am a fan of Star Wars, but I think how they implemented on screen is awful. Like, I'm a fan of the Clone Wars. I think the Clone Wars is the best version of Star Wars that we have. But I'm talking about the live action things, like, those ones are done so bad. Like, the overall story is awesome, and I like the story, but how they show everything is always bad.
The novelizations are so epic. The novelizations are amazing. They have so much depth and there's so much detail. And, you know, of course, most people argue, well, I mean, the shows are never as accurate as the book. But we're talking about, like, leaving things out that literally change perspective, you know, like, and especially in a series or a show that constantly says that from the certain point of view thing, you know, you can't change the perspective like that. You know, you have to include those things, or it's wrong, it's broken. Nobody's gonna understand it.
But going back to the series of Kenobi, of what we're watching, like like I said before, I'm trying to say I'm okay with changing the canon. Like, I'm trying to get on board with that one. But there are some things, because it's still an established Darth Vader character, there's established lore, like we know how it ends for Obi-Wan, we know how it ends for Vader. So it's hard for this little in-between to say like, oh, they met again, they fought again. Like, to me, this isn't the first time they're gonna fight, like in this series. Like, I know they're gonna fight again. And also, I want to put this is an aside. I don't know if we're going to include it, but this is an aside. I'm excited that Hayden Christensen is in it, because I'm going to give him one defense point. In the prequels, let's just say it wasn't his fault. Let's just say it was terrible writing and directing, and say, hey, be an angsty, terrible kid, and they didn't know.
That's exactly what it was, to
be
fair.
It is.
Because Lucas, like, full-on told him to be that, and that's what he did.
And Lucas is terrible at dialogue, so...
Yeah.
Okay, but so let's say that's his defense. I'm gonna give him that defense. So him playing Darth Vader, I know it's James Earl Jones the entire time, and he's not gonna come out of the suit. So where is this man? Does Hayden Christensen, like, you see him for one brief moment, like in episode 3, like that person in the robes, by the way, was Anakin, like Sith Anakin, that Obi-Wan was like, you know, seeing. But they better do some flashbacks or anything, because I want to see Hayden Christensen, like, again. Like, I want to see him like, are you really a terrible actor? Was it really your fault?
I'm willing to bet that if they do show it, it's probably just going to be like meditation type things, where people come in and try to inform Vader of something, like, oh, hey, you know, we've located him again. He's in the so-and-so sector, and then he turns around in that big black meditation egg thing that he has, and he's like, very well, prepare the ship for light speed. And then that'll probably be it. You know, they're probably not going to do a whole lot of scenes with him, even though they brought him in there. What's the fucking point?
The biggest thing for me that is the biggest problem is that, this is why I'm saying it's in a bad way, is Star Wars is supposed to be campy, and the dialogue, I guess, is supposed to be terrible, just by all the other movies that we have. I'm on board with that. I get it. So my problem is that Vader wants Obi-Wan captured alive, and then he wants to kill him. So the fact that someone fires a laser bolt and lights things on fire again, and then I get 10 years has passed and Vader's like, I'm gonna be more cautious this time. Maybe it's best for him to let him go. No, terrible excuse. He should just force push the fire back away and then just force grabbed him again. And he can't force crush a robot. Like when he's like, no, like he breaks an entire room.
He was literally looking at it like he was just helpless. Just, oh no, my only weakness.
Dude,
droid.
and our brothers stormtroopers, they were like, oh damn, oh man, I can't, I'm out of ammo.
Fire, I can't see.
Yeah, man. Like that. So Pixar has a rule, and I'm gonna butcher this rule, and everyone's gonna yell at me, I assume. But this is one of Pixar's rule, which isn't Disney, I get it, but I just want to say it. So Pixar says you can use convenience to get your characters into trouble, but it's cheating to use convenience to get your characters out of trouble, which is exactly what just happened to Kenobi. They use convenience to obfuscate that he's being captured. They're like, yeah, Vader has him. He's one of the most powerful beings in this galaxy. So how is he going to escape? Well, let me tell you how he's going to escape. Someone's going to go ahead and shoot a blaster.
They're gonna make a little explosion. It's gonna distract him just enough.
Yes. And also, let's just say one other thing. So this is a prediction. I have two predictions. One is bad, one is worse. So the robot that doesn't talk is not a droid. That's what I'm going to go with. That is like Rex or Commander Cody or someone like that.
Those actions are not the actions of a droid.
Yeah, like the droid's going like this, and he's like hiding a hammer behind his back. No, nah.
No,
Droids aren't
doing
that
shit, especially not a loader droid. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's my point. So if there is a clone/human in there, there is no way he's walking in that fire to pull Kenobi out. He would burn, like his skin touching that metal, burn. He's absolutely, completely gonna burn. So that's one of my sins right there. And the other thing I'm going to say is the third sister, I'm not going to talk about her acting or the character. The third sister is 1000% switching over to Kenobi's side, right? Like I could see that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, it seems like if she's not switching over, she's at least not trying to kill him like she's portraying. And the answers that she wants has something to do with that opening scene for the first episode.
It could be. I also think possibly because the Grand Inquisitor is definitely not dead. Because in what? I mean, I know it's Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, like he's back. But that's not how, the Grand Inquisitor's not going to just be, oh damn, I'm stabbed. Sucks. Fiddlesticks. So Grand Inquisitor's going to come back or something, and then he's going to tell Vader or try to hunt her down. And then, I don't know, something, dark side, she's going to fall in love with Obi-Wan. Now, Obi-Wan's going to teach her something, and then she's going to die defending him so he can escape or something. Whatever, who knows? Or Leia's going to talk to him. But I want to say one thing. I do really want to get this off my chest after I drink my orange drink. Leia, as a kid, is fantastic. She is doing a fantastic job, one as the actress, and two as the character. Like, I believe that is Carrie Fisher as a kid. Like,
that is young
I
Leia,
see it.
100%.
I love it. How she
It's probably the best part of the whole show.
Currently, that's currently saving the show for me. And I also want to say this. So he tells what Owen is Owen the Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
Okay. So Obi-Wan. Uncle Ben. Yep. So Ben Kenobi tells Owen, hey, when the boy starts showing, like you have to give him to me so I can train him, right? Like he wants him to be like force levitate. It would be cool if I could force levitate things. Force levitate. See, I'm not force sensitive. But when he says, hey, when the boy starts showing, tell me. And, you know, we can do it.
Sensitive, obviously.
Look at you, man. Oh, yes, Vader. I would argue that Leia currently is showing right now with her intelligence and her wisdom with the Force.
She's way too smart for a 10-year-old.
And what's annoying is that Kenobi's like, yep. He doesn't even see it. That's in front of his nose, and he's like, nah, that's just 10-year-old dialogue. She likes sand or something.
I don't know why they would do it that way, because he's way too observant to not have noticed something like that. He's very, very knowledgeable in the Force. He's not gonna not notice the Force sensitivity of somebody that's not trying to hide it. You know what I mean? And not only that, but he's very familiar with this little girl and her lineage and her family. He would be very aware that that's a possibility, you know.
And if midichlorians are still a thing, he knows that she's chock full of them. Chock full of midichlorians.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
I don't know. It just seems like the characters are currently making decisions that a viewer would never make, which is an enormous sin right there. All I'm saying and begging, and I know I can't change anything because it's all written, I hope it does get better. I have high hopes, and I know people are going to flame me, and I really don't care because Star Wars is not that cool. It is.
The thing is that there's things that they did good, but there's so many things that they did wrong that outweigh the good, in my opinion. You know, like for example, where are all the the missing limbs and stuff from all the Inquisitores? Like these guys were trained out of pure and utter hatred, and we're not just talking normal dark side hatred. We're talking like, I don't like you. I was told to train you, and that's the only reason I'm doing it. But I'm going to train you in the worst way possible. You want to learn loss? Well, lose an arm.
For those that don't know right now, in the expanded universe, which is what this whole entire thing kind of seems like to be, in the expanded universe, Vader trains all the Inquisitors, which is like the third sister and the fifth mother and the 18th cousin. What he does, in order to get them in tune with the dark side, is he takes something from them. He usually takes an eye, a hand, a leg, to make them suffer like he did, because he knew that's how he became more powerful, was by suffering. This is my last complaint, and then I'll leave you the internet to kill me. I don't know if it's more of a complaint. Let me just get it out there. So Disney has a problem with dismemberment. I don't know what it is. They're not shy about it, because we see hands get cut off.
All the time.
The third sister
it's
took
like
a hand.
It's like a Star Wars curse.
We saw one of our brothers get cut in half, so which was awesome. We talked about that scene already, but they're not afraid of dismemberment. And looking at episode 1, when we get a glimpse of Order 66 with the younglings running and the Jedi fighting, the clone troopers are getting slashed constantly by lightsabers, and lightsabers. They're getting slashed constantly by lightsabers, and they're like, "Damn, that's crazy." And they're not fine; they're dead. But come on. A stormtrooper was cut in half. Like, why can't a clone trooper get cut in half?
I don't think a single person lost a limb or got bisected or anything in that scene at all. I don't, and every single one of them are getting like hit, and you're not even seeing like the slash marks, like the iconic lightsaber hot red slashes that you see when something gets cut in half. Nothing.
It's like they're choosing when to be high budget, medium budget, and low budget, which. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I know we have a ton of...
Lucasfilm already has an incredible budget behind it. And then now you're talking Lucasfilm owned by Disney, which has one of the biggest budgets you could fucking have. And they're not doing things like, come on, guys. You have no excuse but to do it correctly. Like, this is your own canon stories, the things that you said mattered, and you're just like, we'll just forget about this thing that we said over here. That doesn't matter.
So I guess in closing, let's try to err on the side of positives. What would you like to see to kind of be like, yes, I'm on board now?
It'd be easier for me to tell you what would be the final straw for me, honestly.
What would be the final straw for you?
If Vader lays eyes on his daughter and doesn't realize who she is, then it's all done. And even if he does, it's still, if he just lays eyes on his daughter, it would be immediate blow all of it out of the canon and plot holes, because he doesn't know who his daughter is when he meets her in episode 4. He doesn't realize that that's his daughter.
Or maybe he's starting to get like a feeling, like
see, like he knows that there's something about her, but he doesn't. He's so lost in the dark side that he doesn't recognize her mother in her yet. But. If he sees her now, and he realizes who she is, or if he doesn't even, it would screw up the whole interaction that they have in episode 4. Like that, I think that right there would probably make me stop watching the show.
So for me, if they can fix the Vader talking to Obi Wan, because like I said in A New Hope, he said, when I left, I was the learner, you were the master, blah blah blah. So if they're able to if Obi Wan obviously is going to get better, so if he I don't know, bests him again in a sword duel or something, and then Obi-Wan loses, like if that's like series finale or something, like Vader's like, damn, that's crazy, and then you go to your sand planet, I'll go find you. Then whatever.
I can see that. But the problem would be if that would have to be the end point of the show to redeem itself.
So aside from that, the other thing that would get me like, I'm rocking, I'm rolling to go, is, listen, I respect the man. He's had a great career doing it, but I want to see less James Earl Jones and more Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. Like, I know you're not supposed to change the voice. I'm not saying change the voice, and I know you can't take the helmet off because he's gonna die or whatever, but like, through flashbacks, astral projection, something, I want to see Hayden Christensen more than I want to hear James Earl Jones, but that is honestly just my take. So, listen, we talked a lot, we complained a lot, it is what it is. I want to hear your comments in the comment section down below. Yell at me, don't yell at me. We want to hear from you. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. If this takes off, we'll maybe do some Kenobi stuff like this again in the future. Let us know. Special thanks and shout out to the patrons listed here on screen. But other than that, I'm Rob from Downloadable Content. That's Mythicus. We've been your Stormtrooper hosts, and we will see you in the next video.